Okay, in the real world, other than with family or friends, you are unlikely to be able to borrow money from someone, then just pay them back what you borrowed later, because only you are advantaged by that. How are you advantaged? You got access to money you didn't have, and they lost access to money that they had for a period of time, okay, while it was on loan. In reality, this is the real world we're talking about now, and you're entering that very soon. In reality, lenders, which are banks or people that have money, will loan money to borrowers, people who need money, and charge them a fee on top of the money borrowed. What is that fee called? The money you borrow or loan is called the principal, and the fee charged by the lender to the borrower is called interest. The other way so the stuff in blue is what I'd suggest is notes. The way that I think of interest is, interest you can think of is the price you pay for not having money, okay? You're paying to use someone else's money. That charge is called interest. So get that down, please. So just to say again, principal is the sum. It's the thing that's being borrowed. Or from the lender's perspective, it's the thing that you're loaning out. The fee that lender is charging to the person borrowing, on top of that is called the interest. And at the end of the arrangement, the borrower pays back the total amount. What is that? That's the principal. That's the amount of money you borrowed plus the cherry on top, the interest. So it's going to you're buying something for the principal, but it's going to cost you more. Why? You didn't have the money in the first place. That's how the world works, okay? So the first type of interest that we deal with is called simple interest. It's the most basic method of calculating interest fee charged on a principal. It's sometimes also called the flat rate interest, so please keep an eye out for that terminology. If you do general maths next year, I trolled you and I wrote the questions as flat rate, okay? And people are like, oh, what's that? It's simple interest. This is just a different word for it. The interest is a specific interest rate percentage of the original principal for each year. So your formula for that is this. SI is equal to P times by R times by T. What does SI stand for? It's the simple interest that you pay. P is the principal. Interest is the rate as a decimal. Now I need to ask you, if my rate was 5%, what is 5% as a decimal? Is it 0.5 or is it 0.05? Sorry? 0.05. Because 0.5 would be 50% and a 50% interest rate would be ridiculous, but also not unrealistic if you're using credit cards, okay? Please don't do that. So 5% is 0.05 as a decimal, e.g. And T is the time in years. Please get that formula down, please. This is directly what I taught the Year 12s. They have to be aware of this because there are certain banking arrangements that use simple interest. This is not so common, simple interest, but there is one big purchase that is relevant to you that uses simple interest, and that's buying a car from a deal, not from the side of the road, not one of those. That's probably what your P-plate car is going to be. But when you buy from a dealer, it's calculated through simple interest, okay? So get that formula down, please, and then we'll practice using it, and then I might chuck in a more realistic example for you that's applicable. So just be aware, this formula is set up to find simple interest. It equals SI, okay? But you're expected to be able to use algebra to rearrange and find P, R, and T as well, because those are all variables in this formula. If I know everything else except one thing, I can find any of the variables. That's how algebra works. So let's try this. Calculate the simple interest paid on an $8,000 investment at a flat rate of 7% per annum over 18 months. So what I encourage the Year 12s to do is highlight what matters. Does it matter that it's simple interest? Yes, because that confirms the formula I need. Does it matter that I was investing $8,000?
Yes.
Does it matter that it was 7%?
Yes.
Does anyone know what P.A means? Per annum means that the interest is calculated every year. And does it matter that it was 18 months? Because T stands for the time, okay? So let's enter what we know. I'm not giving you a formula that finds all the variables. I'm just giving you SI, but this is asking to find the SI. So SI is equal to principal. What was the principal? $8,000 times by flat rate of 7%. What is 7% as a decimal? 0.07 times by, this is tricky, 18 months is not in years. How many years is 18 months? 1.5. If you are not sure how to work that out, or if you got, say, 19 months, which isn't easy to work out, can anyone suggest to me how to work out the decimal of it? Yes?
Divided by 12.
Good, because 18 months divided by 12 months will give you the fraction for it, which will be 1.5. So in future, if you got a twirly one that said 23 months, it's not going to be easy to get 1.5. What could you do? 23 divided by 12, and it'll give you a fudgy decimal, okay? So that's all I need to work it out. So $8,000 times by 0.07 times by 1.5. Is that coming up on the screen? Yeah, 840. So what is that saying? If I did this, if I invested this $8,000 at that rate, by the end of it, I would have made $840 on top of my $8,000 investment. All right? Can you get that example down, please? I just want to demonstrate one of finding the other variables, and then I might give you a realistic example, my own example of buying a car, because it's good to check that you're not getting ripped off. Do your own math. Is this one here? Is this asking you to find the simple interest? Yeah, good. Even though it says find the total value, to find the total value, I need to know what the simple interest is. Okay? SI equals, is it important that it's 2,700? Is it important that it's 5%? Is it important that it's simple interest? Is it important that it's asking that I'm finding the total value of the investment after 8 years? Yes, 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 yes. 2,700 is the principal. What's 5% as a decimal? 0.05 times by, how many years is it? 8. So SI, the cherry on top, is 2,700 times by 0.05 times by, I pressed the negative number, 1080. But what does that 1080 represent? That is the cherry on top. What is the total value of the investment then? Yes? Yes, so it's going to be 2,700 plus 1080 equals 3,780. Can you get that example down, please? That wasn't properly an example of rearranging, so I'll do one more simple one. These are questions from these are examples from the Year 12 textbook. I'll leave the examples there, but we'll start on this. Is this what is this question, example 3, asking you to find? SI, P, R, or T? Correct. Have I given you a formula where R is by itself on the right? No? So, I'm using the formula that Mr. T's given me, but he hasn't bothered to rearrange it. But he's taught you algebra to rearrange anyway. So plug in what you know. You want to earn $6,000 in interest. So the left-hand side of this formula would be the 6 grand. How much are you investing? What's the principal here? 18 grand. How long am I doing it for? And it's simple interest because it says it's a flat rate. So my P is going to be 18,000 times by rate is currently unknown. Times by the time. What would the time be here? 4. Does the order of multiplication matter? Because 1 times 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 times 3 is also 6. So I can rearrange this to be 6 grand is equal to 4 times 18,000 times by R because it looks nicer. So it's going to be 6 grand is equal to 4 times by 18,000. 72,000 times by R. How am I going to get my little R by itself? What is 72,000 doing to R? Timesing. What is the opposite of timesing by 72,000? Divide by 72 grand. 72 grand. That's going to cancel. So I just need the calculator because I'm not good at division. 6 grand divided by 72,000. So the rate is equal to 0.08. 0.083. That's a decimal right now. What would that be as a percentage? Good. Therefore, 8.3% per annum rate. Okay. Can you get that example down, please? I won't do the last one because you guys seem more interested in real world things. I want you to work out if Mr. T is getting ripped off on his car loan. So I'll stop the video there. We'll just do